Okay. Now it's happening. Okay. All right. Hello.
What's going on?
I'm Sam Irvin. We're here in the Irvin Music Studio, my home studio in Asheville, North Carolina. And today I've got Jason Hazinski.
That's it.
All right.
Cool. Nailed it. Yeah.
Thanks for joining me.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah. This is just my Wednesday 8 to 10 live stream, where you know this already, but just to recap at the top, I talk to a different guest every week, just a casual chat, and then a impromptu jam or performance. You said you might perform something.
Yeah, we'll see what we come up with. I'm a man of improv, so whatever we get into is good by me.
All right, cool. Yeah, this whole live stream idea was to just have a fun outlet for music again, you know? This is number 12, so I'm still learning about it. And you're here because we ran into each other at a wedding gig.
Yep.
Where it was snowing.
Yep, that was probably like 5 years after we originally ran into each other in town here.
That's right, yeah. And you've been playing around town how long have you been in Asheville?
I've been in Asheville since 2016. So what are we looking at, 6 years now? And when I moved here, I started working at the coffee smoothie bar at a grocery store, and that's where you'd come in from Moog. He worked just down the street, and he'd come in and get beverages. So.
That's right. Yeah, those smoothies really kept me alive for a
while. That's funny. But yeah, it's nuts running, because we did this wedding a few weeks ago then, and both just knew that we knew each other from somewhere.
And it's like that.
What was that? Where do we know each other from? It took 5 years worth of remembering, but we made the connection, so it's cool to be reuniting.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great thing about this project too. Now I have something to invite people to.
Yeah,
definitely.
Oh
yeah, let's catch up and actually.
I can tell you've put a lot of work and dedication into it, so it's amazing that you're launching this thing and doing it.
Thanks. Yeah, I know I was struggling. It's always something. So it's just struggling with a bit of a noise issue. We'll see if that persists into our jam later. This feed through the microphone on the Logitech should be pretty clean, I believe, as it comes in. I've got little clip-on mics that I think I'm going to upgrade to.
Cool, yeah.
I'd love to keep talking about just nerdy live stream geary stuff like that.
Sure.
Because you run your own live stream, right?
Yeah, I started getting into that with my band. I play in a reggae band. We're a Chawa. We're a 7-piece reggae band. And kind of before live streaming was as big as it is now, we were dipping our toes in the water, and with Jay Ferris, he's our engineer. He really has taught us quite a bit about doing all that type of thing. But we did Facebook streams for a while, and most recently we've been doing shows on a platform called Stage It, which is incredible, and I want to talk to you more about in upcoming weeks here, because it is such a good way to connect with the audience that's kind of already built in, and then there's opportunities to monetize as well.
Yeah, that's huge for sure. Right now I use Restream, so I'm doing Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and I'm missing one, Twitch all at the same time.
Restream is great. We use that for one other application as well. I love Restream.
Yeah, definitely. They're a Ukrainian company.
Apparently. I know. I saw that. So when everything started going down in Ukraine, they were all about, I think at least half of their employees or something are in Ukraine. So yeah, they were all about fundraising. So it's cool to know that we're that connected with people around the world. You'd never know it with some of the software that we end up using or some of the technology that's been developed. It takes a lot of people globally to make this possible for us to do stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so much of this equipment in here was built all over the world. For sure.
Absolutely. And ask you a question. You worked at Moog for a while. What did you all do there?
Oh, well, I worked just building and calibrating the synthesizers. Eventually, I got upgraded to calibrator, but I haven't been there since May of 2020.
Okay.
So,
but you worked there for quite a few years then, huh?
Yeah, I was there for about 5 years.
Cool.
I ended up working on the one, the polyphonic synth. just this massive instrument that I have over there that I can't even lift myself. Like, if I
Nice.
wanted to sell it, I would have to like have a friend help me box it up.
Well, it sounds like you only need the one of those and you're good to go. Huh?
Right, the one.
The
I think
one.
that's what they were going for.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Moog is an awesome place to work. My guest last week still works there and had just graduated from UNCA, so it was
Oh,
like
cool.
sort of me, you know. I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of music majors from UNCA go through Moog,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's a great stepping stool, like stepping, not stool, but stepping stone.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Could be
Yeah.
stools. I like stepping on stools.
Right? I guess so.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to call Moog stool though.
Yeah.
This is good stuff.
That's true.
Some people find their place there, but for me, it was just a great place to, like, a stable environment to grow.
Oh yeah, and think about all the experience and equipment that you picked up along the way. It's really cool to see up in here.
Yeah, it's basically a Moog sponsored studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Moog factory number 2 down here.
Right.
Uh-huh.
A lot of brilliant minds at Moog, though. I've had a few of those guys on. I just called, a guy that I knew at Moog, Lou Rawls, who might see this later, to help me
Hello.
troubleshoot the noise that I was experiencing.
Okay.
That guy is absolutely brilliant. I
That's
don't know
awesome.
if you know that guy,
I
but
don't know.
his live sound know-how is almost cyborg level.
Yeah, I bet.
What are you?
And probably the more things that you start hooking together, you know, the higher of a chance you have something not being compatible, you know, more high chance of something going wrong. So I bet it's hard to diagnose once you start really building your machine exactly where things are coming from.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I've got these power conditioners that I
Mhm.
thought were power conditioners. But Lou was explaining to me that power conditioning is sort of a marketing term,
Mm.
and that you can really just have like voltage control systems
Mm.
or surge protection
Right.
that has some element of power conditioning, but is not as detailed as a voltage controller.
Mm.
Or yeah, I think that's the right term. But so I have plenty to learn about it.
Oh yeah. You know more than me, obviously. I wouldn't know how to connect any of this stuff. But
Yeah,
it's been amazing learning more about the live streaming systems, and I've done over 100 solo shows, and then Chawa, we're gonna have our 100th show live streamed this Sunday on this platform, Stage It. And it's super cool because as we grew in the studio and able to do things in the studio, we started branching out and doing things out and about. So we do shows every Sunday at a local brewery, Curse's Keem. But
love that brewery.
yeah, so we
Yeah,
play
it's
there
like
every
tucked
single
away.
Sunday. It's kind of one of those speakeasy breweries where you got to know about it to get there. But it keeps it that nice local family crowd, you know. But we've transitioned to being able to bring our live streaming rigs to actual shows. So it's a cool, super cool combination of being able to not only have your actual show out and about in the town, which is something that we all missed for so long through the pandemic, you know, getting back out and doing things like that. But now we're able to take what we've developed in the past and kind of combine the two things, so we can be broadcasting worldwide and monetizing, you know, globally all at the same time.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have your cake and eat it too.
Exactly. So that's been amazing for us. But yeah, Jay Ferris is the one. He's like kind of our mastermind, like you were saying. Lou, you know, has taught you a lot. Jay's the one who got into all the multi-camera live streaming stuff that we've really just started to absorb. And like I said, we're on show 100. Tomorrow, I do shows Thursdays and Fridays on Stage It, solo shows. And combining Chawa and my shows, tomorrow is 210, show number 210, and Friday I'm going to do show 211. So
Yeah,
it's starting
that's
to feel
huge.
pretty good, and it's taken that amount of time to get completely comfortable with, you know, being on air and having a crowd and talking to people and stuff. It's a whole different dynamic where you're in your house and then you hit go. I'm sure you're experiencing that here, and then you just know that anyone could be there watching, anyone could be tuning in, and it's kind of like after the fact you almost are wondering what just happened, like where did I just go in the world, you know. It's got that feeling too where you don't know exactly where your energy just went, but it's cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
I've been in Asheville for so long, like my entire adult life, you
Mhm.
know, and so my I post this on my company, Irvin Music Studio's platform.
Right.
And so that does come to mind from time to time when I'm in the middle of like some weird sounding
Yeah, I've had to
avant-garde
walk that
jazz.
line for sure, being like, okay, where do I define my professional self, or how professional do I need to keep it in certain scenarios? Because we both are in the wedding world too, and want to uphold kind of that side of what we do.
Yeah, you got to bring elegance to that
Exactly.
role.
Exactly. I kind of look at it as putting that hat on or putting my costume on for doing things like that too.
Yeah, definitely. I am going to take 1 second to check the YouTube feed
Sure.
and make sure that we're not muted or anything crazy like that. That has only happened a couple of times.
We're gonna check these phones real quick.
Check the YouTube. Sure. Hey, we sound great. Okay,
There we are.
check.
Good to go. Things are looking good on my phone too.
All right, sweet. Now I can relax a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So Stage It apparently can be one of the places that I shoot the stream from Restream.
Yeah, Restream, they have a couple options to do like the custom RTMP stream. So I don't know if you need to upgrade your Restream account. I think it just comes with one.
But I don't use
default.
that yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that would be your Stage It plugin.
I used it for like the first 10 or something for Instagram. Maybe like 5 or 6. And then you have to get like a third-party software to sort of translate to Instagram.
Gotcha. Instagram makes it so hard because they try and be so mobile based, but it would be even better content if they just allowed it. Because I've had trouble with doing live streams on Instagram too from a computer.
And they are Facebook, so
Right.
it's like it
Mine as
should
well,
work the same. Yeah. But you can do it through this third-party software called Yellow Duck. And so I did, and I would see it like click, and it's going through and stuff. And only much later did I realize that it only cut out the phone size, like middle.
That's cool. Every photo I take is landscape. I'm not into the turned phone thing, even though that's how like it's kind of gotten forced into the formats,
Right. Yeah.
Because it's so limiting. Why would you want to see it? We don't see like this all the time. We see like this,
That's a good point. Yeah, our eyes aren't.
Yeah,
on
we
top of
don't
each
see
other.
it like a phone does. I have trouble taking photos vertically because of that reason. I want the full peripheral, and a lot of times I take panoramas when I'm taking pictures too, because our eyes see way much more than just even what a landscape of a phone does.
Yeah, and did we mention that you mentioned working at weddings, but that you do videography at weddings?
Yeah, I do videography too and music, so it's kind of once again whatever hat I need to put on. In combination with getting into live streaming and doing more video stuff like that, I kind of hopped on that ship for a minute where I offered live streaming at weddings, and that was really neat because as a musician, you go and you play a show, and it's all about in the moment, and people pay attention mostly to what you're doing in the moment, but you can get away with a lot more mistakes as a musician. When you're doing video work, there's no room for error. Not only are people going to notice it because you're the one actually creating the evidence at the same time, but also if you're doing post editing, you have to go back and relive that experience, which isn't necessarily always my favorite thing.
That can be rough.
It can be rough. So it's like once all the fun is over with as a wedding videographer, if you need to do post editing, you kind of have to go back and tough through that a little bit. So I kind of really like the live streaming part of a wedding for that aspect because I was sitting there and I was live editing. So when the wedding was done, here's your product once again. I got to be the engineer on the spot doing that type of thing. But you can't just hold out as that. People want more than that, as you know, in the wedding scene. Well, what else can we, they don't want just a live stream package. A lot of times they want the full deal.
The live stream plus like edited down.
I'd rather be wearing the musician hat when I'm at a wedding for sure, and I do that with a DJ Benjamin Warner, and we'll do DJ saxophone style stuff as well, that type of thing.
That's cool. He's got like a whole platform himself, right? Doesn't he employ like violinists and stuff?
Yeah, so he's growing more and more. He's changing his company into very much like a group of artists that can get hired. So he's always been customizing for people. If they want a string ensemble, he'll figure out how to put that together. If they want a full wedding band, he'll figure out how to put it together. So it's cool. It takes a lot of work and practice and kind of going off your cuff a little bit when those things, because weddings are tricky. You know, it's somebody's day that they've been planning for a while. As you know, there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
As
there
you know,
is,
you're
yeah.
very versatile in it, and you've been doing amazing works there too.
Yeah, I did more than 60 last year.
Whew. Busy man.
So that felt good.
Yeah.
I wonder if I'll hit that again this year. I hope so.
Yeah,
I
I
bet
mean,
so.
things are still real high in that field as far as people trying to make up for lost time, you know.
Yeah.
Because everyone had to postpone their weddings, so I know in like 2021 it was like almost double the amount of weddings people were seeing come through because everyone was trying to make up for lost time. But
Yeah, and I think a lot of people hopped on the wedding bandwagon last year. We'll see how it all shakes out when
it's true.
it sort of flattens back out.
Uh-huh.
But Asheville's a destination. I think it'll stay pretty boosted.
We do have that. People will show up and be like, I've never been here before, but it just looks so pretty. It's like, okay, so you're bringing like the whole posse. Y'all are all going to come down here and get married. Cool.
Right?
Yeah, but
So
they've like
many
never
peop-
set foot down here.
Yeah, so many people that have moved here, I talked to them, like, what made you move here? Like, oh, I traveled through here one time,
Uh-huh.
and it was just so beautiful.
Got sold. Mm-hmm.
They get in love with it, yeah.
But we are lucky as performers and musicians and artists, like you said, to have that too, because I think we're like number 2 in destination weddings, maybe even in the world or something.
I'm all about it. Yeah, a lot of people can find something to complain about it with all the tourists in Asheville, but it's like, I don't know, that I guess it is our jobs that we're in.
Yeah, my biggest thing is when I'm on the road, I just understand that most people aren't from here, so you kind of get that defensive driving going.
Right.
Windy roads people aren't used to, and then knowing that they're not from here. So
you got to make it a little extra time, especially with the interstates around here.
They're trying, yeah, they're trying, but it's growing like most places faster than they can keep up with.
What was I gonna say a minute ago? Oh, just you were talking visuals, and that's why I brought up the videography at weddings. And I just wanted to tell the anecdote that I spent like a whole day the other day on the. Do you have like a personal website for all of this stuff that's housed?
Yeah.
Your videography and the bands that you offer and stuff like that. I spent so long with the front page trying to get it to look good on a cell phone and on an iPad and on the computer.
Got a format for the mobile devices, and it's tricky to know what all to put, because you, I'm sure, have the same problem where it's like, okay, I offer all these things. How do I give people like a snapshot of that on my homepage, you know? Because once again, it comes down to like, well, I'm a wedding musician, but I also play in a reggae band. So it's like, you know, where do I want to send people for what they're looking for? Because you don't necessarily want to mix those things if people aren't interested. You know?
Yeah, that's tricky too in itself. I am, or like just to split the musical category even deeper. My company is Irvin Music Studio, so I don't have to worry about videography services or anything like that. I had a lot of advice at first to just advertise one thing, and I totally didn't listen to those people. You know, like just have a website like Sam Irvin Guitar, and then have a totally other business like platform for Sam Irvin music lessons.
It's so difficult to decide.
That's so much to keep up with. Yeah.
Because I've had the exact same problem. It's like, well, what if I want to do like website design for people? How do I tie that in? Or, you know, as musicians, exactly like you're saying, we wear different hats and different faces for where we are. Yeah, how do you translate that properly to people?
Yeah, and how do you make them complimentary? Like, yeah, I play in a reggae band, and that, you know, so I get the celebration scene in a wedding or whatever's the spin of like in my lessons, I feel like I can say like, well, I gigged so much like I gig all the time, and so my musicianship is geared in the practical sense, you know. I feel like that gives credibility to my lessons.
For sure, absolutely.
And I think the same goes for my lessons and playing for weddings or something. Talking about like, oh, I teach throughout the week adds credibility there. And I think just owning a business, like being a self-employed person, takes so much work. I think more than ever people recognize that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that people don't understand, and doing it on your own, it's like you have to handle everything from websites to bookings, contracts, day of performance, getting caught in the snow.
Oh,
wedding
yeah.
we were both at a few weeks ago, we were at this golf course and it just started blizzarding. We were at high elevation and the clouds would just roll through and just pelt.
Pummel
Poor
us.
Sam was
Yeah.
up there going, I don't know if I can even be out here right now because obviously you got equipment out there.
Yeah, and of course, a lot of pressure from the wedding planner to
Mm-hmm.
get it done. Luckily, I did get it done. I did not end up asking that couple for a review though, because I only played like 3 songs
Yeah.
for the processional. I was like, I don't know if that's worthy of asking for that review. But I was proud, or I was not proud, but felt like we were lucky that the sun did come out like
Mm-hmm.
right at what was it, 5 o'clock or whatever
Mm-hmm.
it was scheduled for.
Oh yeah, the temperature did not change at all though.
That heat lamp they gave me ran out of gas.
I know, you're under something that wasn't even heating you anymore. And then everyone was trying to look nice at the same time, and looking nice usually means like taking off sweaters and things, and yeah, it just wasn't super pleasant, but we made it through for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot, like you were saying, that goes into running your own business. However, I will
Like
say
buying your own heater.
buying your own heater, yes,
Yeah.
add that to the list.
But go ahead, sorry.
No, you're fine. I don't think there's any turning back. We were even talking about that the other day, where it's like, okay, we've kind of figured out how to do this and how to manage our own schedules and how to manage our own bookings. Like, I could never go back to working for somebody else.
That's
it
right,
kind of is
yeah.
like that same thing where all that work you put in becomes the immediate fuel to just keep doing it and keep going, because there's almost no turning back when you get in that world.
Yeah. Or not even in the negative, it's in the positive, it's very rewarding.
Mhm.
Not like we're trapped,
Right.
but it's so the rewards
Exactly,
are there because
exactly.
it's like so empowering.
Mm-hmm.
Like because we're independent, you know.
Mhm.
There's a certain freedom. I joked around, maybe it was to you, saying that now I have like 100 bosses instead
Right.
of one boss.
That's true.
So that would be more of the negative side of it. But I think that yeah, I love running my own company.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of know what you're signing yourself up for, if that makes sense. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
there's things that you push yourself to commit to, but you know, if there's something you don't want to commit to or something that you really don't want to sign up for, you just kind of get to choose not to do it at the same time, and that's really
One of the
nice.
hardest lessons to learn is when to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Those cheaper gigs are like coming onto a live stream for free. Like,
oh, I'm all about it. It's cool because, like we've been talking. I mean, we just kind of bumped into each other a few times in our life, and now we're getting to truly explore what each other have been working on. You know, and
yeah,
definitely benefit mutually from that. It's cool to come over here and see your setup and all the equipment that you put together. You know, my house doesn't look anything like this. Our studio doesn't look anything like this, but it's unique, and we're all going to be able to kind of help each other along. So I guess we aren't necessarily all alone in our own businesses and our companies, right?
That's true. We got to stick together
exactly
at some level, and it's only because I run my own business and have time for a live stream or like the like I don't know, this sort of what is the word? This live stream is just a product of my life being
mm-hmm.
the way that my life is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you feel that way too. It's like it's like a solution. It's just some like it felt like a next step or
right.
like sort of a natural sort of thing to happen. And it does enable me to have conversations that I wouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's sort of both the purpose for it and a reward from it.
Absolutely, yeah. It opens up so many doors, and one idea leads to the next. And like you said, one accomplishment, all those positive things that you put all that hard work into, it just makes you want to figure out the next step too.
Yeah. So how do you split up your business into? So is it like your front page or whatever?
Yeah.
Is it like videography, music? Period?
I still feel
Just
like I
period?
haven't quite figured that out yet. It's one of those things where it's just ever changing with the time, because we've been going through such crazy times. It's like, okay, like how do I cater to the current situation? And kind of like I mentioned, I got into wedding videography a little bit, and it was good for that time, but I know it's not what I want to do forever. You know,
Editing can be painful.
editing can be painful.
Editing video is tough.
It
Yeah.
is, and once again, people don't have that appreciation for anything design-wise, whether it's graphic design, web design, video editing, of how, or music editing, anything like that, songs that you put together. People don't have that appreciation on the surface as, to artists for how much time it takes into it.
Totally. A lot of, and not like fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Like staring at a screen, your eyes
Mm-hmm.
hurt, like you're alone. You can't, or at least I can't, like listen to music or a podcast when you're editing a video.
No, not
You
at
just
all.
watch the same thing like
Mm-hmm.
over and over.
Try not to fall asleep certain nights.
Yeah.
We were talking at the studio last night, and we had gotten kind of a silly gig offer. I won't say from where, but just a huge brewery around here where they wanted to pay us like $250 for an opening slot.
For
It's
like a 9
for like a 7 to 8 piece band. It's like, are y'all serious? Like, y'all make plenty of money if you really want to value the musician that you're having out there. That's kind of an insult. And they were saying at the studio last night too, like, do you know how much money Jerry Garcia made back in the day for a gig? Like $250. Do you know how much money they offer a musician right now? Decades later, $250. It's like there hasn't been that same growth as with everything else.
Yeah, definitely. I've been doing a few bar gigs like before the pandemic with like just a jazz ensemble.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but they were pretty podunk. I wasn't doing anything cool. And like the brewery, I just wasn't on the brewery circuit at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to get into that on some level, but the pay is just not there in the same way as it is for
It's
weddings.
true. Now I have the solution for you. It's exactly what we're doing now, and I think that's like the future of music. Not only playing to the audience that's there and getting paid by the audience or the brewery that's there, but opening it up to the unknown, opening it up to the world. Because like I was saying, we live stream our brewery shows now, and you never know where that could go.
And it brings in some tips and stuff. That's
Oh
cool.
yeah. And I've played with bands too. I played with this band Treehouse out of Myrtle Beach, and one of the last gigs I did with them was at One World West, and I live streamed it. And I didn't make crazy amounts of money, but I paid myself that gig. I didn't have to get paid by the band because I made money online.
Nice.
So it's pretty much they got to hire me for free.
That's pretty cool.
So definitely. I think that's huge for anyone building an audience that they can take with them anywhere.
Are there restrictions on the monetization of Stage It? Like, I know like you can't get monetized through YouTube until you hit a certain amount of followers, or like you can't do it if you're streaming to multiple things at once.
It's crazy. Stage is almost like one of those best kept secrets. And for a while there, I was just like running around wanting to like scream it out the mountaintop, like to musicians, like, you need to play on Stage It. Like, why are people not doing this? Because like YouTube, they've almost had to make it that so that they can filter out a certain level of commitment. Because all these things that you do, you have to commit to some point. When you schedule shows on Stage It, you got to show up and play it. And there's that commitment from the audience too, that they are paying money to be there and see it. And just that commitment is exponential. Whereas it's such a huge platform with so many youngsters trying to do it on YouTube, it's like they kind of almost have to have that barrier. But Stage It, they take a normal booking percentage. They just take 20% off everything, whether it's ticket sales, whether it's tips. They just take 20% cut, and it's legit because the more you grow, the more they grow with you, and the more they support you. The way Stage It shows are set up most of the time, you can set it up any way you want. You can have a set fixed price, you can have a minimum price, but most artists have chosen to do something really cool where they have pay what you can. So you can either pay 10 cents to get in the show, or you can have a recommended donation of $10. Some people will pay you like $100 in a show. And it's just like, what?
That's cool.
It's like mind-boggling that people are there. It's truly that two-way commitment where they want to see you grow as an artist, and you've committed to them being there. And it seems like the best way to do it is to pick a day or two a week, exactly like you've done, and be like, this is when I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
Because people get into that routine too. They look forward to your show every week.
Yeah. So far, I don't know if I've got any regular viewers. I think Gray
There's
Murray's
gotta be some out there. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks, whoever's watching right now in general. Maybe I should walk over to the computer and see if anybody's commented.
That's it. I'm going to check this little mobile device here. See what we got going on.
Oh. See, like that. It's only happened a couple of times.
Are we frozen?
I'm frozen over here, but it seems to be working on the YouTube. Not great. Okay. Oh wait.
I see frozen video.
Oh yeah. Let me. All right. Great. Technical. I'm glad I came over to check. Okay. Well. Yep. So, again, learning. This is number 12, so I feel like I've still got some time. I think I'm gonna hit it with a season 2.
There you go.
You know.
That's right. Upgrades.
Next year.
Uh-huh.
Figure it out. Oh man. I wonder what that is. If it's a Wi-Fi issue, like a snap
Could
in the
be.
Wi-Fi.
Sometimes I'll have cameras do that and just need to reset them. Webcams can be kind of finicky like that. But they just all of a sudden decide that they're not going to shoot any more frames over or something.
Yeah. Thanks. Do you have your computer close to you when you're doing it?
Yeah, so when I'm doing my solo shows, I kind of have my spaceship station, where I've got a couple screens. I've got the chat box in one spot, and then I've got the actual video editing program. We use a software called vMix. It's kind of like OBS. It's just got a lot more capabilities. The coolest thing about it is that you can start hooking multiple computers together. So then when I take my setup over to our main studio, I can run cameras on my computer and then plug into the internet, and Jay, our engineer, can pull all the cameras off my computer. So literally Jay's running the show on like 5 different computers. One of them's handling the broadcast, one of them's handling a lot of the visual thinking, one of them's handling all the sound. Then I'm sending him cameras with one, so we've really got like the load on the techie stuff distributed between a bunch of different computers. At the main studio, at New Root Studio, Jay's house, you don't really see what's going on the whole time, and that's a funny feeling when you know that there's cameras on you, but you don't know if your camera's on or not. You kind of always just have to be all right with the fact that
ready.
Camera ready. You can't be screwing around too much. But then we do a watch back. So when we finish our session, we do 55-minute sessions. It's kind of the max on stage for the most part. After that, we go back into the main room and we watch it back right away. So that's a super cool experience as a band to produce something together and then get to enjoy it. And to me, listening back to stuff is such good practice.
Yeah, you learn a lot.
You learn a whole lot.
What you could have done better.
And it's not to critique too much, because that runs into a lot of different mental things. As an artist, critiquing yourself too much can really mix you up. But more so just being like, just taking note of progress, I think, is my favorite thing.
I was gonna say that too. On the other hand, some things that sound better than like in the moment, I'm always like, okay, well that sucked, and then I go back and listen to it. I'm like, oh, there were some great moments. Like, oh, I didn't realize I nailed that.
And then to compare recordings from like a year ago to now, it's always been the coolest thing for me too. Where you're like, whoa, I thought I was like pretty okay a year ago, but now listen to me, and I'm like that much better, And then it kind of just, you don't cap your potential. A lot of times I think with anything in life, if you start thinking that you're good at it, you kind of just went, that's it. That's all. That's as good as you're going to get.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's got to be an infinite becoming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you never make it as an artist. Yeah, which is like the sad thing. There was that episode of BoJack Horseman where he wins the Oscar, or
I didn't
thinks he
see
wins
that.
the
No.
Oscar, and he's still not happy. He's like, "Why? I thought I made it." But it's like you can't make it ever.
Mhm.
Life goes on.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. But yeah, I think that's huge as a growing person in general to not do that to yourself. But listening back to stuff is huge for me. I mean, we record an hour with the band. I'm talking now. We record an hour on Tuesdays, and then our Sunday shows we end up playing about 2.5 hours worth of music that all gets recorded. So it's like, all right, what do we do with all this content that we're creating? How do you even weed through editing that, and where do you put it? My latest solution was to create a 24/7 YouTube channel where it's just constantly going through our archives. So now it's like such a cool mission to be like, let's keep building that
You just
archive because
add
now
on
we
to
have
the
a
video.
spot for it. So we have like about 3 days worth of music that we just stream nonstop. So you could listen to 3 days and not hear, you'd hear different versions of songs, but you wouldn't hear the exact same track.
That's cool.
And that's kind of like, all right, this is where I'm building my legacy. It gave it a purpose, as opposed to just not ever being able to keep up with your archives. So as editors, and you do plenty of it, I'm sure too, with your music and things, it's like you can't leave things behind for too long because then
They sort of rot.
they
Yeah, they
kind
don't
of
get
rot.
used.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that's a good way of putting it. They kind of rot. So I try and edit what I can almost right away. Try and get it to the final product before I walk away from it.
Yeah, it's tough to come back to something.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this like album that I've been working on for a really long time, and I think like it's just a consolidation of all the little slips of paper that I like
Mm-hmm.
doodled an idea down in college or whatever. Um, and I spent like it's just like a free time thing that I haven't been um, uh, just spare time,
Mm-hmm.
little pockets of time. And so one year I consolidated all of those into like stuff I had recorded and stuff. I figured it out, wrote it down on sheet music.
Mm-hmm.
So I have it all on sheet music, and then the next and all of like my poetry and stuff like that for
Very
lyrics.
cool.
And then the next year I started consolidating those into like songs. So I've got like 15 songs with X amount of sheet music ideas and X amount of poetry ideas sort of conceptually together. And then this year I'm distilling down the poetry into vocal melodies that I'm trying to write.
It's a really unique way of doing it. That's cool.
I think it's going to come up with something, yeah, unique, hopefully, sort of original.
And having like that much time isn't a bad thing going into a project because it's really allowed each of those things to cultivate individually and then complement each other when you figure out how to put it together.
Yeah, definitely. Some of those ideas, though, do seem like, oh man, this is an idea from so long ago. Like, how do I, like, a lot of it has been like, well, this whole song sucks, but this little motif right here, that was the gold nugget. Like, I'll take that little piece.
That's what it takes sometimes. I think I've talked about this with other people too, where you almost just gotta like keep cranking out things until the gems show themselves. Because along the way, it seems like if you focus too hard on any one thing and try and make that happen, it's not gonna produce it's like content versus quality or something. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
It does, yeah. You gotta be, because it's like practice, right? You have to practice putting the final product out there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And then the final products will get better and better instead of just one final product.
Right, putting all your eggs in that basket,
precious.
being like, I have to make this great,
Yeah.
It really stifles the creativity at that point because creativity is supposed to be fun, And I never went to school for music because I was scared of that. Being like, but I just got done with like a bunch of school, How do I think it would have had its benefits, and sometimes I do regret that fact. But I've always been such an improvisational player where I didn't want to feel like I was getting trapped inside a box with my music and all of a sudden having to have too much curriculum around it, But you went to school for music, right?
Yeah, I got a jazz and philosophy double in music, and in so my main was music, though. That's what I was trying to say, and I did feel that way a little bit. I had to take a break from music after college. I
Mm-hmm.
sort of put down my guitar for a little bit, and um, and but I do like the academic piece of it because I like reading classics and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, and just understanding like how I fit into like the historical picture
That's really cool.
and how like what I play either follows what rules, you know, and or uh, disrupts whatever rules, like music theory rules.
Mm-hmm.
I like the YouTuber Adam Neely talking about how like what we call music theory is just like the uh the standards of like European music in the
Mm-hmm.
1800s or something like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like any violations of like music theory that you would learn in college or whatever, um, aren't necessarily like wrong in any
They just apply
particular
to
way.
that certain time period almost, and what was the standard then.
Yeah,
Mm.
which speaks to just the imperialist, you know, like uh, uh, just the power center of like Europe and America
Mm-hmm.
that those centuries, you know, so much of history is sort of like centered around.
Very valid point, including things like religion and things like that. You know, it's very much was created during that time period.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, forced upon people. And
Yeah.
the music that we play still has those like connotations,
Mm.
you know, different genres. I feel comfortable like as a classical guitarist, but if you go too far in any direction with music, you hit other cultures and cultural appropriation and stuff. And
Mm.
I think it has to be done with some sort of respect. You know,
Mm-hmm.
classical guitar is like a very Spanish phenomenon,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not like Latin at
Mm-hmm.
all. There were great Italian classical guitarists too, though, and German like lute players and
Mm.
stuff like that. But again, none of that is like my heritage. So
Doesn't
I don't
matter.
know.
I play in a reggae band,
Right?
you know.
Yeah.
But it's like, what really makes you tick? What you know? I think that we have the ability to unify more in that sense because we don't necessarily have to have that heritage, you know. But
Yeah.
to be able to understand that and take influence from those cultures and influence from religions and things like that and kind of create our own ideology, I think is super huge.
I think that's like a very American, yeah, perspective, which is great.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Yeah.
we have very much freedom to be able to do that, you know, which a lot of people don't. They're still having to be kind of kept inside that box, which is sad, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. All of that was me left turning hard a lot of times of talking about being too precious with a piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
Or but the same applies to that, being too precious with like what's right or like
Mm-hmm.
what is the box, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Just
I've always
trying
had
stuff.
trouble getting trapped inside boxes, and I very much of am an improvisational player. I mean, that's what I had the same band director for 9 years, and one of the first things he taught me, I started in fifth grade. He's like, here's the rhythm, here's the groove, here's some notes that are gonna work, and now you can do whatever you want. And that's just how I got taught. So then when people would ask me, oh, do you know so and so, you know Charlie Parker, do you play any of this? I'm like, not really. Like that stuff is really scary to me because once again, you've got all these other person's styles or restrictions or trying to play. It's like those guys just improved and somebody decided to chart that music
Right.
and then you have to try and learn their improvisation and it just seems super forced. It's like I'm not Charlie Parker.
It is wild, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Philosophy's like that too, where somebody's commenting on somebody else's
Mm.
work, and you're supposed to have an opinion about that commenter's commentary on another
That's
commenter's
just
commentary.
confusing, but what do you actually think? Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but it can provide, I think, tools for the tool belt or whatever. You can
Absolutely.
whip that Charlie Parker-esque lick out at the right
Mm-hmm.
moment
For sure.
or
I mean,
whatever.
definitely you can take influence from that stuff, but I've always felt when I play music with people, if there's something I'm supposed to know as far as like a horn line or a standard or something, it becomes very scary for me because it's like that's not my style, That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to just play what I hear.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm a little jealous that you get so many platforms for that.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I think as a wedding, I guess like I get to learn classical music by other people and play my interpretation of it, and I find that to be very enjoyable. Um, but I don't get the opportunity to just improv
Right.
and jam out, which is another reason we're here on a live
That's it.
stream.
And that's
why
why
I'm
you're
doing
doing
it.
it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
So you're kind of creating that space, which is amazing, and I think is super credible and honorable to as an artist not be afraid to do something like that. Because once again, that does come with fears, where it's like when I started first doing live streams and staged shows, I was on there being like, I don't even really know like if y'all are gonna like this. I don't
Speaking
even
of
really
fear,
know
let
if
me
I
see
have
if
a
we're frozen
purpose.
again.
Yeah, let's see if we're frozen. Are we still there and talking and things? But literally, I mean,
No, we are frozen. What the heck?
half the time I start shows still, I have butterflies in my stomach because there is just kind of that.
You still have butterflies? What were you saying?
Yeah, half the time I jump into shows still, it's like I'm kind of pushing the envelope of what I'm trying to do. So it continues to have a little bit of that butterfly feeling in your stomach.
I think that's a good feeling ultimately,
For sure.
most of the time.
Absolutely. Because once again, when you become comfortable with something, you've kind of capped your potential.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we back? Moving around.
We are back. Yeah, I wonder. That is not. See, it's always something new. Every live stream, there's a little kink in the hose.
The audio sounds good though.
The audio does. Yeah, I fixed that from last time where I was getting some noise.
What are you streaming? So you're taking, you said 4K video or
I was doing 1440.
1440?
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
And that's what the same lines up all across the board, like with your software, your streaming, everything's receiving the same.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
should be.
Because I've had troubles too where I've got like, every now and then with internet connection, I'll have to bump down to 720p, and I typically just stream in 1080p. But if you like your software is set on 1080, but you're streaming at 720, sometimes that little difference can cause hiccups. But I think you already looked into that.
Yeah, I spent some real time trying to get it up to 4K.
Yeah.
And watching like the YouTube video, like here's everything you need to set up for 4K, and went through and tweaked all those settings, and then of course I looked like this in 4K.
Yeah, there is something not matching up quite right there.
So I took all of those settings off, and then was able to get it to just like 1440 with it being pretty clear. I'm not sure what's happening with the with this video.
Yeah, how fast?
But maybe I should just give up and do 1080 if it's if it's just giving me problems.
Sometimes I feel like that might just be the way to go.
Yeah. How's it look?
We're moving now.
Still?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. This is half live stream, half podcast.
There you go. Half jamming.
Yes.
There's 3 halves.
Speaking of, do you want to take a little break and get to jamming?
Sure.
All right, cool. So we're going to take a quick, like 5 to 10, and we'll be right back.
All right. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Who's watching? We're back on the Please So people can hear us talk because we're just using the headphones. Yeah, man, that sounded awesome.
Thanks.
Does that have a name?
That one was called Soar, like a bird.
Totally, yeah. I could.
And that was one of my
It's
favorites
appropriate.
early on that I wrote, where it was like, all right, I can start spreading my wings a little bit, right?
Yeah, definitely, man. All right, cool. Well, maybe you can do some more like interludes.
Yeah, for sure.
In between us jamming.
Any
Let's
day.
try to come up with a couple of ideas
Cool.
or some scenes.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So I'm gonna start looking at all this Moog stuff.
Yeah, I'm interested. It's gonna be good.
Let's set up a nice bass to start. I mean, we can just use that one, but. Well, that's not. How about new one? Alright, we're getting somewhere. Oh, my Nexus is dead. What do you think? You want to take it for another interlude
Sure.
for a moment?
Sure. What are your low fingers making noises?
Oh man.
Well, that's that.
Oh, all
Every now
right.
and then my loop pedal just goes too busy. It cuts off.
Well, I'm gonna switch it up and I think get on this loop station over here.
All right.
Okay. Only thing is, well, these reach over.
They've got you. That's got some stretch.
I know, right? Okay. Should be hearing that.
There it is.
We'll turn it down. All right, sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, some D minor jams.
There you go.
That felt a little bit more interactive.
I like
than
the improvisation style that we just did there.
Yeah, for sure. That stuff is fun, but it takes a very long time to
Uh-huh.
reach the climax. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. For sure.
Like an hour later, it's like, oh, now's the moment. All of the knobs are in the perfect place.
That's the tricky part with doing some of that and doing loops and things. It can take a while to build. Especially if I'm trying to do loops on the fly, it can take a while to build a song, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Your range is pretty big. What is your range like on that thing? Like, how many octaves do you get?
There's like, let's see, goes all the way down to a B flat. I got 3.5 octaves.
Okay.
I can't do it unless I'm warmed up. But yeah, I've got like over 3 octaves.
So you can set yourself up with a bass line and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to set us up with a bass line?
It's not gonna work too well because I'm not gonna be MIDI synced to you.
Oh yeah, I won't set up any loops or anything over it.
You just do your thing and I'll jam along.
All right. Sweet. Getting some clip song in there.
There you go.
Yeah. Alright. This is good. Like I said, I don't get to jam that much until these live streams.
Yeah.
It's a release.
Good.
I used to be all about the improv too, you know.
Right.
Then I really got into the classical and everything's so regimented.
Mm-hmm. Which that's a whole art in itself. You can't really compare the two.
It's true, yeah. Yeah, trying to get something very polished,
Uh-huh.
doing the same thing over and over.
Absolutely.
I feel like my loops are very short right now, so let me make a longer one
Cool.
so we can explore some like chord progressions.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah.
That one has some good progression.
It did. Yeah, I know. A little bit of longer, a little bit more chord progression is where it's at, I think. Is it weird? Is it weird? Is it a beat off? I think it is. How about an oldie but a goodie? Twang. This looper board has some built-in effects too, and I like the mixing capabilities because it's got 4 outs.
Yeah, and I'm noticing that you're doing stuff like that, where you can change volume levels and things pretty easily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I probably should have gone with that. I might trade this in for the newer
They have RC
505 or whatever.
Yeah, they have the RC 600 now.
Right, yeah,
Yeah, I want to upgrade eventually.
that's the jam for sure.
Uh-huh.
So
I can
reliable.
still hear like real. That's what it is. Okay. It's like I still hear that a little bit.
Whoop. All right, what do you think? One more little thing?
Sure.
Or do you want to close this out with another one of yours?
It's up to you. You want to hear one more?
I do, yeah, if
Okay.
you don't mind.
Sure. Let's see what we got here. I'll keep it spacey for us.
Oh my god.
Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Thanks, man.
I love it. What's that one called?
Hmm.
Does it have a name? Space
See,
Age.
it's funny because I have like this dictionary of all my music on my computer,
Uh-huh.
but everything in here is just labeled by numbers. So I
Right.
don't even remember the name of that song. It's okay.
That's okay.
They're all just instrumental anyway, so the name is kind of relative.
Right, yeah. Well, thank you, Jason, for
Yeah.
being on.
Thank you so
You're
much
still
for
on that
having me.
camera.
All right.
All right, and I'm Sam Irvin. Thank you for anybody who watched this. And,
Thank you so much for having me, Sam.
Hey, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And being one of the first guests is be patient with me as I
Oh,
figure
man.
out this whole
It's a-
process.
It's a huge puzzle that you're putting together, and you're doing a good job of it. So.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks again for coming, and thanks everybody, and see you next week.